Jijini nataka nikupeleke moja kwa moja hadi katika bunge la kitaifa ambapo waziri wa usalama Profesa Kithure Kindiki anahojiwa kuhusiana na masuala kadha wa kadha, miongoni mwao ikiwa ni kuhusiana na ule utata wa kupandishwa daraja kwa maafisa wa polisi, na ni mvutano ambao umeibuka kati ya Inspector General wa polisi na tume ya kitaifa ya polisi humu nchini. Hebu tusikize.
The minister has no role in trying to find a way forward on this matter. But as I said, the genesis is in the very disparate or different interpretations of mandate and role. On one hand, the National Police Service and the Inspector General are waiving the Constitution, Article 245, and the enabling statute, which is the National Police Service Act. On the other hand, the Commission is waiving the same Constitution, but a different article, Article 246, together with the enabling statute, which is the National Police Service Commission Act. So since this is an interpretation issue, the first step would be for the Attorney General to assist as the chief advisor of government, including government institutions, public institutions, on the matter of interpretation. Beyond that, perhaps the judiciary. Having said so, Honorable Chair, I am of the view that the exchanges that we continue to witness between the command of the National Police Service and the National Police Service Commission leadership, those exchanges are needless, and in my view, they violate the Constitution for the reasons which I will explain. There has been some promotions, and I'm responding particularly to the contents of the letter we received from your committee. Recently, there have been some promotions which were done, and the two institutions, which are critical institutions for our national security, were involved in a public exchange of letters and press releases and all manner of untidy communication in the public. In my view, not just as the minister responsible, but as from my professional background, that conduct by those two institutions and their top officials amounts to a violation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity and leadership, notwithstanding the grievances or the merit of the complaint that either the National Police Service or the National Police Service Commission could have. Without delving into the merits, public display of discordance of institutions that are crucial for the security of our country is a violation of Chapter 6. It undermines the rule of law. It is the highest level of irresponsibility on both institutions. From where I sit, that is my considered view, having looked at the architecture of the Constitution, especially the chapter dealing with our national security and the responsibilities visited on the organs of national security. Honorable Chair, therefore, those that recruitment was done. It was contested, and each of the institutions gave reasons for the procedure used or the reasons for contestation. And therefore, with regard to the second part of your letter, which wanted us to give information on what we think is the status of that recruitment, including the recruitment of civilian staff within the National Police Service, which has also suffered a similar fate. It is our considered view that that recruitment must be regularized without breaking the Constitution or without undermining the law of our country. That is our view. And by regularization, I am not making judgment as to who is right or who is wrong. Why do I say so? Because, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the architecture of our national security in the Constitution, the values that must guide our processes within the institutions mandated to secure the country, we must give public confidence not only in the officers who are charged with running our security, but the officers themselves, Chair, must have confidence in the organs they serve in, but more importantly also the people of Kenya must have confidence in the institutions that are responsible. In other words, if you have a recruitment of this nature for civilian staff, promotions of various ranks within the National Police Service, and then the process, for whatever reason, for whatever merit, is treated to public exchanges between the Commission and the Police Service, and one institution declaring the process null and void, another one asking officers to ignore communication from another. There is no greater erosion of public confidence in the organs of national security than that. So, from where I sit as the Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and National Administration, I have made it clear to those two institutions that that process must be regularized within the law, whatever that means, and it must be done not in the public glare, so that we don't erode further the esteem, dignity, and public confidence in our institutions of national security. Honorable Chair, what measures have I taken as the Cabinet Secretary responsible? I have engaged the two institutions extensively, but not in public. I have engaged them in private. As you are aware, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior provides policy directions to all the organs of internal security on matters policy. The operational issues, the human resource issues, the competent institutions share the responsibility, and that is the National Police Service and the National Police Service Commission. But all matters of policy, that is where the Minister comes in, and in that role I stepped in by calling both the Inspector General of Police and the Chairman of the National Police Service Commission, and had extensive discussions and interactions with them. And in these discussions, Chair, I can report to this committee that I made it very clear that what the two institutions and their leadership were engaged in is a violation of the Constitution, and I made it clear to both the Commission and the IG and the command of the NPS that that conduct can easily give basis for removal from office through a tribunal for gross misconduct and undermining the Constitution, notwithstanding the merits that either of those institutions could have on the who was right and who was wrong.
Ni Waziri wa Usalama Profesa Kithure Kindiki akiwa anaeleza kamati ya bunge kuhusiana na hatua alizochukua kuhusiana na mvutano uliokuwepo kati ya Inspector General wa polisi na tume ya huduma za polisi humu nchini kuhusiana na kupandishwa vyeo kwa maafisa wa polisi, akisema kwamba alichukua hatua ya kuwakutanisha Inspector General pamoja na mwenyekiti wa tume hiyo ili kujaribu kutatua masuala hayo na kuhakikisha kwamba uajiri wote ama upandishwaji vyeo uweze kufanywa kwa njia ambayo haikiuki sheria na katiba, na kuhakikisha kwamba hii mivutano haifiki kwa umma. Naam, wanahabari wetu wanafuatilia